not to do. Don't limit yourself to one source. Now, I've got this collection of sources from Ancestry to Nova Scotia Online. Look at them all. The reason for that is they may all have a different transcription. FamilySearch and Ancestry both have the census. Two different transcriptions, two different sets of results when you search. Take a quick look at digital books. So I'll get to a point where I've run out of census. I'll run out of birth, marriage, death records that are available online. The next step is to look for genealogies that were written 100 years ago plus. And there's a lot of companies doing a lot of work getting them all digitized. Google, archive.org, and I'm sure there's a bunch more that I can't think of off the top of my head. Now, one of the things what I'll do is, if you're familiar with RootsWeb, which is a part of Ancestry, it's a place for folks to put their genealogies online. I'll use it just as a quick search for genealogy, and let me just pull that up. It's you, Nicholas. If I'd use a different name, I probably would have got a long list of searches that they've got. But in this case, I'm only getting a few, so I'll go to the World Connect. And at the bottom, they've got their search engine. Now, what I'm going to do is I want to know that whoever put this in, they put in sources. And just to keep it narrow, I know Nicholas Snow had descendants. So I want them to say that it's got descendants. It might be, if it was somebody else that wasn't so far ago, I might put in the father's last name. That guarantees that when I get a result, that person has ancestors and descendants. So now I'm going to leave that out. I'm going to say I want to make sure that they have sources. So what I might do is let's just pick up the first one that's got sources. And I'm going to take a look at their sources. Plantagenet Descent by David Blocker. Doesn't sound like a big name source. But what I'll do is I'll look through all the sources until I find a document that probably have a nice date in it also, if it's a good document, a good book. I'll take the title, I'll take the date, I'll go to Google, I'll find that book. Let's go back to put in the name. I usually put in his name, her name, go to books, and see who's talking about, who's written about. Add Constance in there too. We saw these earlier. So I'm looking for ones that are a full read. This is a snippet. This is a free one. So here's a whole book, X number of pages, by the George Thornton Fleming American Historical Society. And here's some information about Nicholas Snow and his family. If I like, I can go up here, download it. I'm going to keep it in my own card catalog on my laptop because I don't know if I'm ever going to find that again. Tomorrow they might say, no, we don't want that out there anymore. So I'm going to keep a copy of it. Now, as you're going through these and you see, well, I think the copyright law is, I want to say 72 years, 91 years, somewhere around there. Anything older than that is free copyright. So if I find a book that is old but not free, I'll take that title and I'm going to go to archive.org. If you're familiar with archive.org, also known as the Wayback Machine, it has copies of old websites and it has its own collection of digitized books. Now this is great because when we're doing our searches and we click on something and you come up with page not found or it doesn't look like what you expected, take that link, put it into archive.org, go back in time to when it was there, see what was there. I'm going to say a little bit about Mocavo after I have a pause for a drink. Sorry. A lot of great people have said a lot of great things about Mocavo. Mocavo was designed to be a search engine specifically for genealogy, specifically for people. It searches everything that Google searches, but then narrows it to things just about names. Now, in some ways, it is too narrow. So I'm not going to find images. I will find books. I'm not going to find news. And I have tried them side by side, and Google has more. It just does. So I put in a query the other day for a great-grandmother. And her last name was Schultz. I put in her full name, and I did a search. Looked at Google Mocavo side by side. It started returning the same information. Then I put in my name, because I was looking for a post that I put on a board, but I forgot where I put it. Google returned the post, Mocavo didn't. So Google was a little bit smarter. Either it had indexed more, or it was smarter on how it used my name than Mocavo did. Because what Google did is I had put it in as a username, so it was a combined first name, last name. Google found the word Malio inside the username. Mocavo couldn't. Mocavo wants to be Ancestry. Right now, it's looking for members to add their genealogies. Once they add their genealogies, then they can index it and give you more search results. They also want you to pay them for better search tools. So as much as other people say Mocavo is great, I'm sticking with Google. I'll use it once in a while, but don't limit your sources. Don't lose the results of a good search. You don't know when it's going to come back. Now, there's lots of ways to snapshot your results. Obviously, you can do a print screen, and that'll do a capture as an image. Not as good as I'd like. So what I'm going to show you is a couple of ways. If you are in Internet Explorer, you can go up to the tools, and you can say File, Save. And what it's going to do is it's going to save what's on my screen right now as a web page on my local machine. Now I can open up that web page whenever I want, and it's not going to change, but I've got all those links. I can keep clicking on those links. I don't know if tomorrow that search is going to be totally different. I can guarantee you that tomorrow that search is going to be different. I can put in all the same search terms. I'm going to get a different set of results. If I've got a great result, I'm saving it. Now, if you're using Chrome or Firefox, they each have a way of saving the web page that you're on. So what I'm talking about is saving the web pages, saving the books, saving the images, save everything. Collect your own, because you don't know what's going to be there tomorrow. Another thing that I've run into in the past is I'll do a search, I'll find a result, and it's not, doesn't quite seem to fit, and I bypass it, only to go a week later to find some corroborating information that says, oh, that record was good. Try to go back to it. I can't find it. What happened to it? No, no way. Which is why sometimes you'll go archive.org, but save as, and it's going to save it as an HTML, which is a web page. You can say, I want to save it in my documents. So tomorrow you're going to go to your documents. You're going to see Nicholas Snow Constance Google search.html. Click on it. It's going to open up again in your web browser, and it'll be exactly the way you found it the first time, every time. It's just a snapshot. It's never going to change. And the links are live. Don't forget that if the link isn't live, let me back up. Don't forget that also Google has its own cache, which they have over here in this preview cache. So you can see that Google cached. If something did change, you want to go back, Google has a cache, archive.org has a cache. Create your own card catalog. Create your own. I've got literally dozens of folders where I keep every PDF book that I ever found, every image that I ever found. I've got them all. No one's going to make them disappear on me in the next future. What not to do? Don't give up. Now, just because you can't find it today, you've reached that break point where you've spent as much as you can on it. There are new sources coming out every week, every day. When that new source comes out, take all your family records, take the relevant ones. So if it's about California and you know you had someone in California, search them against that new record. Search them against that new source. Still can't find it? Set yourself a tickler. Set yourself a reminder for your person. Okay, can't find it today? Remind me to come back in 6 months. Look again. The amount of information I was able to find in 1990 was tiny in comparison to what I found in 2000, which was even tiny in comparison to what I found in 2010. And it will be even tinier in comparison to what I find just a couple months. It's actually a exponential curve of information. So you might think it's a kind of a linear, keeps growing linear, it's exponential. They talk about being able to digitize entire holdings in 10 years. They've got this grand plan to we're going to digitize everything in 10 years. Technology keeps pace. It gives them the ability to digitize faster. So a year from now, a better computer comes out for digitizing, and now they reschedule. We can get everything done in 5 years. A year goes by, better equipment comes out. Guess what? We're going to have everything done in 3 years. I mean, it's like the genome project. They thought it was going to take 100 years to transcribe the initial genome. And with new technology coming out every year, they were able to get that down to a matter of years rather than 100. That's what I've got.